It's the Blue Jays This Week vodcast form. Ben Ennis and Ben Nicholson-Smith. We'll get to Mike Wilner in just a second. And Ben, I want to start this week talking about Josh Johnson. It's been broken down by so many people, so many different angles. I want to get your take, though. I mean, this is a guy who is playing right now for a lot of money. There's so much on the line. He's going to be a free agent this offseason. Could not have gone worse this season so far for him. He was injured when he's been pitching. He's pitched absolutely horrifically. And when it comes to the end of the season, the Blue Jays are going to have a big decision to make, whether they want to give him that qualifying offer, which is going to be in the range of $15 million, or risk just losing him for nothing. What do you think they do with him?
It's so hard to say, and I think that the next 2 months will go a long way toward determining that. But this is a pitcher right now who's having so much trouble limiting home runs. He's already tied his career high, 14 home runs allowed, and that's just not acceptable from a pitcher who has really gotten by limiting walks, hits, home runs, and doing a great job of that so far. So if he can come back to his normal self, they will extend that offer. But otherwise, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and it's tough on a guy that owns him in fantasy baseball like me. And you can't even start him against the Houston Astros. What's going on? It's ridiculous. Anyways, I just need to get that off my chest. Edwin Encarnacion, he was named Player of the Week, I believe the third time in his career, just the second time as a member of the Blue Jays, though. I mean, he's been spectacular. When you look at the most consistent hitters this season for the Toronto Blue Jays, he's got to be number one. I'm thinking maybe number two is Colby Rasmus, to be honest with you. But Edwin, this is a guy who was waived off the 40-man roster not that long ago. Meanwhile, he's an all-star. He's one of the best sluggers in Major League Baseball. The Blue Jays really made off like bandits acquiring him.
They really did. And it's great that Jose Bautista got all that attention a couple years ago. It's great that Chris Davis got that attention this year. Encarnacion is not that far behind those guys in terms of overall impact that he has made in the last couple of seasons. And for him to have 29 home runs, more walks than strikeouts, he's a really incredible offensive player. And even defensively, we're not going to say that he's a Gold Glover, but he's come a long way, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And as long as he doesn't have to throw the ball, it's usually a good scenario for Edwin in the field. I want to also talk about Esmil Rogers as we're talking after Game 1 of the Oakland series. The Blue Jays out on the West Coast for a couple of games. And Esmil Rogers, a huge surprise, wasn't supposed to be in this starting rotation. Blue Jays have used like 45 starters this season. It's been ridiculous. They picked up like 5 of them in the offseason. They've all been terrible, but Esmil Rogers was a great surprise, guy that didn't really have a lot of success in his limited opportunities as a starter in the major leagues, was great out of the bullpen, gets thrown into the starter's role, and really performed well. Pat Hankin helped him a little bit with the two-seamer, the sinker baller. Things are starting to trend in a bad direction, though, for Esmil right now. I wonder if he does factor into this Blue Jays starting rotation going forward.
And I think it's very fair to wonder. I think that the Blue Jays are probably wondering that themselves right now. I do expect, though, that if they give him another 2 months of starts to really determine, is he a reliever, a long man, or is he someone who can make that transition to the rotation, then they'll know a lot more. And heading into 2014, that's a big question for them. We both know that 2013 is not going to happen for the Blue Jays, so it's about trying to figure out 2014 and whether he can be one of those starters.
I still can't convince Mike Wilner that 2013 isn't completely out of the realm of possibility. He's still believes in miracles, apparently. But yes, we'll get to Mike Wilner right now. He joined Rajai Davis. He's in Oakland. Here's his chat with the speedster of the Blue Jays.
Ford Leaders in the Field. Presented by the 2013 Ford F-150, Canada's Player of the Year for 47 years running.
We're here in Oakland, and Rajai Davis is our Ford Leader in the Field. Because, well, you got a club record 4 stolen bases the other day against the Houston Astros, and with a third of a season left, you're halfway to the club record of 60, and I think you could probably get there.
Well, you know, it just takes a lot of opportunities. You know, with opportunities, you never know what can happen.
But it's funny, you say it takes a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, it takes opportunities of being on base. But it doesn't take opportunities to steal bases because you've only been caught 3 times. You're remarkably efficient for a guy who steals as many bases as you do. Yeah,
I guess over the years I've learned some things, and I just learned how to be more efficient, and I guess I've been fortunate. It seems like I've gotten faster. I don't know how, but it just seems that way, you know. Maybe I haven't. It seems like I have, though.
It's funny, there are people who can simply outrun the baseball. There aren't many of them, but it seems like that's what you're doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know. Just, I guess my legs feel really good. You know, I'm just real thankful that, you know, God has blessed me with these great legs, and I'm running.
There's speed in the system too, and Anthony Ghost is a guy who a lot of people are very excited about. And I talked to him when he was up with the team briefly, and I said, "You and Rajai, who wins?" And he says, "Oh, there's no chance that I can beat Rajai. Maybe I can beat Emilio or Laurie, but no chance I'm coming close to Rajai Davis."
Well, it's he's a young guy. He's very humble, modest. He can run. I know he can run, and he's got a quick step. So plus he's got the light cleats on that I wear. He wears. I like them. So I think he's just being a little modest.
I don't know about that. We watched you, and it's been fantastic. And one thing I want to ask you about specifically in Oakland, against Houston, sorry. Bo Porter, the Astros manager, left Travis Blackley in, the lefty, because he holds runners so well, to throw over a couple of times and then switched pitchers. And you were on first throughout a one at bat, stayed on. He was able to hold you, but the first pitch that the righty came on, you were going.
Gone. Yeah. Just some pitchers, just pay more attention. Others don't. You just got to figure out which ones do.
Got to ask you about the oven mitt. I asked you to go get it, and here it is. This is something we noticed in spring training. It's obviously to protect your fingers, but what made you come up with something like that? I haven't seen anybody else wear it.
Well, I actually didn't come up with this motto. It's actually kind of just fell in my hands. I needed some protection for my hands. I've seen over the years guys going for slides. A player makes a tag. Guy breaks his finger, and I've seen guys go in hands first, and I'm always a hands first guy, slide, and they get their fingers cut, and they come out bleeding. And I just want to be able to go in there protected and feel safe as well.
Does it give you any extra? Does it get because I had thought it was empty on the bottom, that your bare hand was underneath and it just protected the top, but it's a full glove. Does it get you there a quarter second earlier?
I don't think it gets me there that much quicker. It's like the length of a fingernail, maybe a long fingernail, but a fingernail, as far as distance, but I think it just comes down to I just want to protect myself. It saves my wrists. I've always in the past I've learned, hey, when you slide a lot, the body takes a beating, and you want the best for your body, and at least I do.
Well, you got it with the oven mitt. The Blue Jays have it with you stealing bases. It was great to see that record, 4 steals in a game, and we wish you the best of success the rest of the way.
Oh, thanks for having me.
There he is, Mike Wilner. Beautiful Oakland Alameda Coliseum. I don't think it's ever been referred to as beautiful before, but I did it. Ben, Rajai Davis was a guy that was given a multi-year deal by the Blue Jays, and a guy that wasn't expected to be a starter, but when he's played really well, and really been one of the more consistent Blue Jays, I would say, and hit righties reasonably well, and just been a pretty solid contributor, especially with all the stolen bases.
Yeah, it's true. He's really racking up those stolen bases, and he's filled that role for them as that fourth outfielder. I'm not sure, heading into free agency, is he going to be viewed as that fourth outfielder, or maybe a starting outfielder? That would certainly be an opportunity that a lot of players would covet. But with his speed, his ability to hit left-handed pitching, he does have some really good qualities that a major league team would want.
Well, you mentioned the non-waiver trade deadline fast approaching, and maybe when you're listening to this or viewing this, it will have already passed. And wow, what a crazy trade that was that we don't know has happened yet. But let's talk about the possibilities of trades, not just before the non-waiver trade deadline, but beyond, because we know it's really not all that difficult to trade past the non-waiver trade deadline because they're recallable waivers, and if you put a guy on waivers and somebody picks him up, you don't have to give him up for nothing. You can work out a trade that way. The Blue Jays have a lot of relievers that are performing pretty well. Now, Brett Cecil's starting to come back to earth a little bit, and Steve Delabar's given up some runs, and Darren Oliver's given up some runs as well, but those are guys that I guess could have some value for a team either in a playoff race, in a playoff position right now. Is that something you think the Blue Jays will do or look to do as trade a reliever?
I think so. I think you look at that bullpen right now, it's full. It has been for a while. Sergio Santos is coming back, so you add it up, and they do have some arms to spare.
Until he gets hurt again.
Well, exactly. But I think even then, you still have some room to work with. So I do expect that they're going to try to make a move involving a reliever. Maybe it'll be Oliver. I doubt it would be Cecil or Delabar, but they do have some options.
Let me throw a crazy one at you, Ben, because I know you like crazy stuff. You're a crazy wild man. But what about trading one of the big names, like an Edwin Encarnacion, like a Jose Bautista, like somebody that is a significant contributor but might net some serious returns, and you know how much this team needs starting pitching when they thought they had so much in the offseason. What do you think about a bigger deal like that?
Well, I think that any GM has to consider those possibilities, and I'm sure that Alex Anthopoulos will do that. But at the same time, replacing that kind of bat is so hard to do.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if they found a deal that really made the entire organization deeper. So I don't think that'll happen, but at the same time, if someone comes along and bowls them over for a Cecil, a Delabar, that could be a deal that they might want to consider, even if it surprises some people.
Yeah, no doubt Alex Anthopoulos is going to be very busy as he goes forward, not just up until the non-waiver trade deadline, but beyond that and looking ahead to 2014 as well. He's Ben Nicholson-Smith. You can follow him on Twitter at @BNicholson-Smith. You can follow Mike Wilner at WilnerNess590. Follow me on Twitter as well at BennisSnet. We'll see you next week.